You can't do anything right now without talking about Diddy. Diddy is today everywhere. Diddy denied bail after pleading not guilty to sex trafficking crimes. Racketeering charge. The judge ruled that there were no conditions that could ensure public safety due to the private nature of the alleged crimes, emphasizing the weight of the evidence against him. Diddy's legal team plans to appeal. His lawyer saying he is innocent. He's not afraid of the charges. We're going to stand by his side. Diddy offered a $50 million bond, surrendered passport, and proposed home detention, but the USDA deemed him a flight risk with a decades-long history of violence. The indictment alleged Diddy ran a criminal enterprise through his companies using firearms, threats of violence, coercion, and sexual abuse to control victims. Authorities seized freak-off supplies and weapons during raids, revealing disturbing details about Diddy's alleged abuse. They said, what did they find? The amount of stuff they found on the place, which was ridiculous.
100 bottles of baby oil.
50 Cent trolls Diddy and his 1,000 bottles of lube and baby oil found in a federal raid. He took a shot at Diddy after his longtime rival was arrested on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. He says the In the Club rapper 49 posted a picture on Instagram from his appearance on the Drew Barrymore show and made a crack about $1,000 bottles of lubricant and baby oil that were seized by Homeland Security at Combs' home back in March. Here I am looking good company with the Drew Barrymore 50 Cent caption alongside a snap of himself. I'm Drew Barrymore 49. So what do you think about all this stuff, Vinny?
Well, first of all, I mean, dude, it was only a matter of time. How much stuff do we have to see from the past? And I hate when Tom, what's it called?
Okay. I'm not going to go too long on this Diddy stuff right now because everybody's talking about it. And I really do not want to hear about any more Diddy stuff. And I think the Diddy case or his situation isn't as interesting to me is because it's been a long time coming. We've seen it for a long time. And although a lot of the things that Diddy is probably being charged with or that he has done has not been, it's been more rumor than it's been fact in a public eye. I think anybody like myself who can see people for who they are, like a lot of people, I feel like in this 2024 are just stupid. They need, like, you have to have hardcore facts to really get a sense for who people is. But there's certain people who you could just look at somebody's just aura, their face, their eyes, and not even just that, not even just catching a feeling off a person, but once you smell smoke so many times, in other words, once you hear so many rumors, fire has to be somewhere. The truth lies somewhere in between. And it seems like when those hardcore facts, not that we didn't know this. I mean, we've heard since the 90s, Diddy doesn't pay his artists, how he treats his artists. So we know there's a lot of abusive, powerful people. I mean, once you get a certain amount of money, it seems like that's what comes next, right? You abuse your authority and your money. But we've seen Diddy's personality in these acts just by how he's treated people or making the band or how he's been rumored to treat girlfriends. I mean, it's only been a rumor for the last 10, 15 years that he had abused Kim and did certain things. Even his own ex-bodyguard Gene Deal has said these things, but yet, and still people don't want to believe it. And I think it's just really weird. And it's not even weird. It's just the times of today. Because if men had it totally their way, they'd be able to beat women, abuse women. Like, women just don't count. They wouldn't matter to a lot of men because you have men like Bootsy, Lil Duval, Faison, just people, and a lot of men, of course, these internet people who pick up a mic or make videos because there's no qualifications nowadays. They say, oh, well, since when can you get arrested for freak off? Since when can you get arrested for being freaky? Everybody does that. And I put that clip in this video too, so that people who are a little slow in the brain can get the full picture that it's beyond Diddy having freak offs. You can't force people into sexual acts. You cannot force people into sex acts across state lines, which is basically ex-trafficking people. You cannot force anybody into anything. You cannot, if I come up to you and hit you, that's assault. You can't just assault people, whether it's domestic violence or it's your artist or it's an ex-baby mother. You can't just abuse people. And there's probably a lot of things that Diddy's been involved in that we haven't even heard about yet. So I just really, it just is really distasteful. And I just cut anybody's video off when I start listening to these males' videos and they say, oh, since when can you get arrested for being freaky? Like, I know a lot of the talk and all the jokes and people want to make is about the baby oils, and I just hate that they keep calling it freak off. Like, they just need to call it what it was, sex parties, orgies, because people take it for a joke, and then people make light of it, especially men, when they say, oh, since when can you get arrested for being freaky? But it's beyond that. Diddy is charged with running criminal enterprises under the guise of his legitimate businesses. So anybody with a brain, as this goes on, there's probably going to be things that come out as if we haven't already heard enough about Diddy. That's shocking. Like, to me, just throw him in jail. Like, I don't need any proof. I don't need a trial. Like, people like that have made this world what it is in these days and times, because all of them are like that. 9 out of 10 of them are like that. That's running things at the top, people at the top of business, people who run the world. And that's why you see the things you see nowadays, because that is the influence that people who run this world have on this world, and why people have turned so violent and careless and just nobody cares anymore. So just wanted to put this quick clip out there for people that are just too slow to just do that research, just to get a bigger picture of why Diddy is being arrested and, of course, set with no bail or bond or whatever, because he wants to harass people. Of course, he's going to try to persuade people to, not go against him in his trial. So we're going to see how these things go. And another day, the earth spins in all of its craziness. Madam X Frequency Real Radio, and I'm out. Dag, how could I forget? We didn't even talk about the Scorpio-ness of it all. And I think when people think of the sign Scorpio, we think of these sexually explicit people. It's all about sex, 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 sex. No, it's not. A lot of times, some Scorpios have, I'm sure there's some Scorpios out there that can be a prude. And I got to look up Diddy's chart. I'm sure... I don't know if Diddy has just never been an interesting character to me ever since the 90s. Even though he's the one in control, he's always just been like the one nobody is serious, the uncute friend nobody is seriously interested in. But I'm going to pull his chart because I wonder what his moon and Mars placements is and things like that. But it's almost, and I'm wondering if he has some other things in Scorpio, and I'm willing to bet he has more than one planet in Scorpio, because it's like he took Scorpio. And what I was going to say is, a lot of times Scorpios can have an open mind. Like, so if they're not approved, right, they may be your type of people, like a Scorpio guy or girl that may be open to threesomes or orgies with, not orgies, but threesomes within a relationship, or like being more sexually open with their partner on different things and things of that nature. People who have Scorpio specific personal Scorpio placements. But Diddy seems like the type of person who took Scorpio and just, like, he Scorpioed out. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if he had a stellium in Scorpio, because it's almost like he took what people in the industry do and he just did it like times 1,000. He just did it so much more worse and so much more braggadocious and so much more from his ego. You know what I mean? And if you want to talk about Scorpios and egos, I mean, they have huge egos. Look at his partner in crime, Stevie J. You all remember him from Love and Hip Hop. We know how big Stevie J's ego is. Speaking of ego, Jocelyn, messing with Stevie J as a woman, Scorpio woman, how big her ego is. Drake, Scorpio, how big that ego is. Future, you could tell Future has a huge ego. Just like, you can't tell them nothing. It's like Diddy took what he did and he did it as a Scorpio times 1,000. So if I pull his chart and see something interesting, we'll come back more and talk about Diddy from a Scorpio perspective and do an astrology video on it. But he's been doing it and he's been out there for so long. I feel like that video would go on forever. All right, y'all, I'm out.